Welcome back, Cowboys Nation. Today we have the full crew, the big three, whatever you want to call us. We're back, and so are the Dallas Cowboys. Not that they ever left, but we're back. It's Victory Monday after the Thursday night football game against the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to be breaking down that game as well as addressing the news that came out of Philadelphia today and that traitor old wash man that we never wanted, Darius Shaquille, whatever your name is, bum. We never wanted you, so just wanted to get out in front of that. But boys, what a game that was on Thursday night. Best Thursday night football game of the season so far. I think it's pretty much. I mean, it's a fact. It
Yeah,
was the best Thursday night football game. Yeah,
that's an
of the
open and
season.
close case right
Yeah,
there. But it
yeah,
was a
but
fantastic game. Fantastic game.
yeah,
Just so we hear the media saying it as an excuse for Philly, that was also our third game in 11 days. Our defense also looked tired. We also played a lot of defensive plays, but we still came out with the win. That's definitely our closest playoff atmosphere game, I would say. Obviously, we played
mhm,
the Niners and Philly, but I guess the Philadelphia game might rival that. But just overall, that game just was so different in the field that our defense was practically Swiss cheese. They got a couple lucky breaks on the Deron Bland, went for the tip. It was great coverage. I'm still in disbelief that ball got through on DK's long reception. We got Rashawn
yeah,
Evans guarding Tyler Lockett 60 yards from the line of scrimmage, which I hope we never do that again. I think we
yeah.
learned our lesson. But
Hmm.
our defense, what divides a championship defense from a regular defense is the ability to make plays when the moment matters. And when the moment matters, we got a pick and two stops. And so, as much as I want to critique our defense, they came up when we needed them. And obviously, elephant in the room, the new leading MVP candidate, Dakota Prescott. Um, fucking fantastic. Sorry for the swear word. I know we try to keep it clean, but fucking fantastic.
Yeah, we looked great. Ceedee looked unstoppable like he has the past 6, 7 weeks. Him and Dak are just on the same page right now, and it's so much fun to watch. Um, Tyron and Tyler look unstoppable, and Zach. They look so good right now on the O line. Like you said, 3 games in 11 days. Defense is going to be tired. I mean, there's just no way around that. They look exhausted. But like you said, they made big plays when it mattered, and you got the win. And you're playing a team that their season is on the line in week 13 and they have to win and you come out with the win. I think that's a big step forward for Dallas Cowboys.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I tweeted it during the game, and I know I texted it in the chat as well. But that game for Seattle, that was probably for them to lose that game, especially in the way that they did. Um, Obviously, a lot depends on their next 2 weeks, but that felt like a game, and I saw a lot of Seattle fans on Twitter saying this, but that was a game that they had to have. Um, Getting us on the tail end of a third game in 11 days, and then they got to turn around, they get a mini bye, and then they have to play the Niners this upcoming week, and they have to play the Eagles the week after that. They're about to be a team that I think was at one point 6-3 or 4, and they were tied for the lead in the NFC West, and they're staring down the barrel of 6-8 right now. And they played like a desperate team that wasn't afraid to take chances. Gino, we thought he was banged up. He was slinging that thing. He looked great. Well, for the most part. DK Metcalf was awesome. Absolutely obliterated Deron Bland all night. We can't really act like it was a great game from Deron Bland, especially after we've been calling him the depoy and saying he's best corner in football. That felt like a step back. I think our buddy Brady actually texted us. He said, I liked it better when people didn't know who Bland actually was. Which is true because people didn't know who Deron Bland was pretty much up until this year. I mean, obviously we did, but a lot of people in the football universe didn't really know who he was. I mean, he was supposed to be our number 3 corner this year, and because of the Diggs injury and Gilmore getting old, he's become our number 1 corner. But I'm willing to chalk it up for him as more of just obviously your third game in 11 days against a desperate team, and DK is a tough matchup for anyone, especially for Bland. I mean, they're both physical players, but like that first touchdown just got the game off to a really brutal start for him. Donovan Wilson just clueless, don't know what he was trying to do there. So I'm willing to put that more on him, and then just for Bland to turn around, what was it, third quarter and get that pick was just absolutely hilarious given the night that he was having. But I mean, man, this offense going to be playing like they are right now, and especially considering who we have this week, which we'll talk more about on Thursday. But for our offense to be humming like it is right now, it is something that I'm very much looking forward to. I mean, we've been talking about it since the last when we recapped the game in Philadelphia, how excited we were to get them in Dallas. And I mean, I'm sure y'all will echo that, but I mean, my feelings haven't changed. I think, and obviously we'll talk more about this on Thursday, but I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to win that game on Sunday. And obviously, when you have the MVP of the league, which we've been saying for weeks now, before the media actually started paying attention, it kind of makes things a lot easier. So that's just my 2 cents there.
Yeah. I guess we'll get us started on offense. Overall, just we just I guess it's hard to explain other than we handled business. Like we went out there and just handled business on offense. CD 8, Cooks 8, JSAP
Yep.
Ferg 8, offensive
Yep.
line 8, and TP 8. We all 8, and most importantly, 4-8. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the Sounds of the Sidelines yet, but just
Oh, I
watching.
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, I watched that right before this actually. Watching how Dak Prescott talks to the team, more specifically the offensive line or the offensive unit as a whole before they take the field, like let's say after the DK Metcalf catch, after the Geno Smith run in the end zone, and even after the Terrence Steele holding call when they were in the coming back to the sideline and Aubrey hit the field goal. He's just a leader of men, and that's a trait that not many quarterbacks in this league have, and so many people just overestimate the significance of. Dak Prescott is a leader of men, and you see that
Right.
these boys are willing to run through a fucking wall, not only for Dak Prescott, but for each other. And it just feels like a different team on offense. And the scary part about it is we haven't fully clicked yet. The last missing piece, the last infinity stone, if you will, of the Cowboys offense is seeing Tony Pollard break one long run. He needs to break that one long run to get fully back, in my personal opinion. He's a little too worried about ball security when running through the tackles. But overall, that was the best cornerback room and probably, I'll just say secondary, we will probably face all year. I think that's pretty certain to say. And we got their absolute, like what you said, it was a must-win game for Seattle, and we got their absolute A game. I'm not sure if they will play a
Mhm.
more complete game the rest of this season, but physicality-wise and just non-mental error-wise, we played their absolute A game. That was the playoff game for
Yeah.
Seattle, and we still came out there with a dub, even though 50% of our football team were playing their C game in our defense. Our offense showed up. Dak Prescott showed up. If you watch, we even talked about it. Dak shreds man coverage. You know what Seattle comes out and does? Plays more zone coverage. And look at Rain Dakota Prescott. He shrugs off, I think it was something Mafe, who shredded Terrence Steele on a play, shrugs him off and finds Jalen Tolbert.
Boy Mafe. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's playing a different brand of football. And if you guys haven't seen, there's a YouTuber called Quarterback School. and I highly recommend because he has a couple videos on Dak Prescott this year, and he's just talking about how much more confidence Dak has with the ball in his hand and with this system, with his drop back, where he's setting his feet and where he's looking on his initial read. And it's hard not to be overconfident in this team right now because of the way number 4 is playing. Games are won and lost. Everyone likes to say in the trenches. Everyone likes to say with the defense, with Dak Prescott in the quarterback position in the NFL, that's where games are won and lost. And right now, ours is playing at the number 1 level, and it's just a sight to see.
I totally agree. I don't have anything else much to say other than Jake Ferguson had the best game of his career the other night. Also, he had a tough matchup going against Jamal Adams, and he made Jamal Adams look like a little bitch on Thursday. I mean, that was absolutely special what he did. Jamal Adams as a loser of a human being. Those tweets that he had after the game,
What a
dude,
bum.
absolutely
What a
sucks.
bum.
Sucks.
Yeah.
But you're totally right, Spanky. That was the best DB room we're gonna face all year, and the way that Ceedee and Jake and Cooks just absolutely shredded them apart was impressive. And I mean, being have to point one time, obviously they didn't either. But we just Dak looked so in control that you just knew it felt like we were gonna go score a field goal or a touchdown every single drive, and we did. It seemed, I think. But you're right, Spanky, that
I mean, yeah, we didn't punt.
Yeah. I want to say like the kneeling down, whatever, but everyone always says that. That's shit's
We went
bullshit
for
anyways.
it on 4th, and Ceedee
Fourth, that's
dropped
what
it.
it's
But
down.
that was the only.
Oh yeah, 4th and 2. Yeah.
You're so right about TP though, Spank. If he without that one little rush he had for 15 or 16 yards, I'm looking at his stats, he would have had 19 carries for 52 yards. If he didn't have that one breakout run, which I know like that everyone says in 15 yards, it's always that one carry, but would have had 19. It was less than 3 yards per carry. He just doesn't look explosive. His cuts don't look good. He's not hitting like the hole, like it looks like Rico Dowdle's hitting that hole.
He's
We've
not
seen the
hitting it
past few
hard.
weeks.
He's
Yeah,
hitting the
hitting it
hole.
hard,
He's
but he's
not hitting it hard with that
Agreed.
burst that
Yeah.
He wasn't really known for like the juking, I would say, more so just that one cut
hitting
and
it
gone.
hard. Yeah, agreed.
And he's not doing that right. It's as if he still doesn't trust that one plant leg. You know what I mean?
That's 100% true.
Because he used to make guys miss that way, and now he doesn't.
But I asked the question during the game: is it TP's fault or is it our O line with the run? You can make a case it's either one. I wouldn't deny if you said it was our offensive line's fault at all. So I think like Terrence Steele has been he was brutal again. TP needs to break out a little bit, but Tyron, Zach, and Tyler look absolutely like the best left tackle, the best left guard, and the best right guard in football right now. You can make a case for Trent Williams, whatever. But them three are the best players at their positions right now. On top of Ceedee and on top of Dak, we have 5 arguably the best players at each position in football.
Yeah, that's a great note there. Actually, just thinking about that. But my biggest takeaway from this game, from an offensive standpoint, is, and I mean, this is something that we've been thinking and that we've said, but especially after watching Sunday Night Football last night and watching what happened, the absolute destruction that the 49ers gave to Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia last night. There is not a quarterback that I trust more in the league to go out and give you his absolute A game right now than Dak Prescott. It's just awesome what we're watching right now, and I'm glad that the national media is actually finally starting to give him his flowers a little bit. But the thing that just kills me is that I know deep down that what they're doing, especially with how Sunday Night Football against Philadelphia next week, is they're propping him up because they're praying that the Cowboys lose the game or he has a bad game and they could just absolutely tear him down. And they will. And I mean, they've done it in the past, but I'm not really that worried about that. It's just an inevitable thought that I feel like we can all agree on, is that's their underlying agenda is to set that up. but there's not a guy at the quarterback position in the NFL playing better football right now than Dak Prescott. Maybe Joe Flacco for like the first 2.5 quarters of yesterday's game. That was pretty cool. Shout out to old man Joe. But there's just not a guy playing better ball than Dak right now. Ceedee, I mean, oh my God, he's everything. When we talked after the San Francisco game, I know Spanky that you kind of put out like a little challenge for him, which I'm sure he listened to and probably has your picture in his locker as motivation when you challenged him and said to be a lot more like a certain past 88, that instead of crying on the sideline, he would have done everything that he could have to get open and fight and make Dak throw him the football. And I think pretty much ever since that game, I think he's done more than kind of answer your challenge, if you will.
Yeah, I'll take credit for that. Thanks for that. I'll
Yeah,
take the roses
yeah.
for it. You know what? Thank you. Yeah. You're welcome,
Yeah,
Cowboys
yeah,
Nation.
yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Spanky challenged Ceedee Lamb, and Ceedee Lamb accepted the challenge. It's
Ceedee,
just
if you wanna,
basically that simple.
yeah, Ceedee, if you want to fly the boys out with sideline passes so we could get like a one-on-one report, like a sit down that they do on like the
Yeah,
halftime of Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, where they interview someone, we could do that, get dramatic lighting and all of that. We can definitely work that out.
yeah. We want to be on record, CD. If this gets to you, which I'm sure it will. But we just want to be on record that's saying if you were to fly us out to a game and get us, well, I guess fly Spanky out, because me, DFW. But if you were to fly Spanky out and get the three of us sideline passes, to Sunday Night Football, just want to be on record, and I'm speaking for the pod here. We would not be opposed. Um,
For sure now.
just want to put that out there. So yeah, that's my challenge. Well, I want to go ahead and copy Spanky here. That's my challenge to CeeDee Lamb, is to fly us out, or fly Spanky out and get us sideline passes to Sunday Night Football. That's my challenge for CeeDee Lamb this week. We'll see if he accepts this challenge. But getting back on track, Spanky, you absolutely nailed your prediction last week about Jake Ferguson. He was awesome. And the one issue that he has, which we kind of saw it again, is he still has too many passes thrown his way that hit him in both hands that don't end up being catches. But my God, I mean, watching him go, cage to cage with Jamal Adams and then score the touchdown over him and stare him down was awesome.
CD pointing at him.
And
That was awesome. CD pointing at his
yeah,
ass.
yeah, and then Dak on that one scramble he had where he like ran over Tariq Woolen and then got in his face and flexed on him. That was so sick. I mean, this game, like, you can tell that this offense is playing with a different level of confidence and swagger right now. They have the thought every single time that they get the football that, hey, we don't care what is in front of us. We're gonna go down the field and we're gonna score a touchdown. And it's so awesome to see that. And as I said earlier, it all starts with Dak. It literally all starts with Dak. He's just on a new level. Shout out to ASAP Ferg. But yeah, he's on a new level right now. And if we win this game on Sunday and he does what he's been doing, then we'll have, you might have your NFL MVP. I just want to say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But unless you'll have
just one more quick thing to add. Also, we
Yeah.
sent out a challenge to Mike McCarthy earlier this year saying our offense looks the best with pre-snap motion. And I believe since our challenging words to Mike McCarthy, who's probably an AWL as well, since most of our picks are correct, and he probably wants to give the boys their flowers. So shout out Mike. Next Big Mac's on me. But anyways, we've had every single game since like our challenging him, I guess would be the San Francisco Arizona game, has been above 55% pre-snap motion, which is crazy to think about. Before the old Kellen Moore system, we can certainly laugh at Kellen Moore for scoring 6 points, yet they still covered against the Patriots, which is pretty hilarious to think about. But I mean, it's I know I said it last week, and I know for our friends asking us back home and in group chats, like, why do you think this year is different? Is we have an identity, and our identity is Dak Prescott and the Tex Coast scheme that so many people made fun of during this offseason. So many people, so much media was like, oh, look at these training camp interceptions. Look at the defense not respecting him for they're talking shit. They're doing all this. You know what? Our training camp and our preseason made this team so mentally damn strong. And maybe more people than not, but Dak Prescott grew a lot this offseason, and he's come to trust and really just dive in deep into this system. And hats off to Mike McCarthy for this Tex Coast scheme, because, man, we finally have an offensive identity rather than 5-yard hitches and first down runs. So it's great to see.
Yeah, yeah, that is great to see, and that's a great note to leave off on for our offense. But as we shift over to the other side of the ball here, let's just preface this by saying they were not good. Very, very bad performance pretty much all around until the last two Seattle drives. The DeMarcus Lawrence stop on, what was it, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. And then the Micah, getting that pressure at the end to put the game away. But the defense was bad the entire night. Hurst didn't have a great game. Wilson didn't have a great game. We didn't record a sack, I'm pretty sure, right? First time this year.
We had one for when DJ Dallas, they traded that trick
Yeah.
play with DJ Dallas. Technically counts as one because he's a passer.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
But our D-line
not
did
like
eat.
like a real sack.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Jonathan Hankins. For some reason, I feel like we said this last week too, but for some reason Jonathan Hankins was our best defensive player on Thursday night, which is wild. A 35-year-old journeyman defensive tackle was our best player. Yeah, but shout out to Big Hank. He's been awesome. But I mean, like we said when we opened, the Seattle offense played desperate, and you saw it kind of at the end of the first half. I think is the best example of this when they threw up. Gino had that bomb to Smith and Jigba that was really questionable. It was ruled incomplete, right? But then there was PI in the end zone. Okay, yeah, but still, the fact that they were willing to, take a shot like that, and I mean that throw by Gino was incredible, stepping up in the pocket, just flung it. Smith and Jigba, whether it was a catch or not, that's not up to us to decide. But you could tell that Seattle knew that they were going to have to be scoring touchdowns, that field goals just weren't going to get it done, especially after Myers missed that first one. So you just kind of had a feeling that this game, especially after the first couple of possessions, was going to be a shootout. But I had a flashback while watching our defense out there and watching their offense, and it gave me it's not something that I'm worried about because, again, third game in 11 days, everyone's tired. They looked really tired, but I can't help but realize that I got flashbacks to like those old Rod Marinelli defenses, like those, like bend don't break. Your second best player on the defense is like fucking Jeff Heath. Like dude, it was bad. It was just tough. I'll just say that, and I'll let y'all take it from here. But it was they were bad for 95% of the night, but the 5% that they stepped up was at the end. And like Spanky said, that's what a championship defense does, to step up when you need them most. So glad that they were able to at least kind of rebound in that aspect.
Yeah. And like some people are kind of maybe hovering over the panic button on our defense. Some people are doing blah, blah, blah. But like we saw what happened to Philly. Like obviously the Seahawks and San Francisco are two different teams, clearly, but like it's kind of just like we didn't have our step, if that makes sense. We didn't have the juice that we normally have on our defense. And so when people ask like, "Oh, are you like worried about the defense?" Like, fuck no. You play 3 games in 11 days, 65 snaps over 11 days. So 100 and what, 95 snaps over 11 days in the most physical game on planet Earth. Like, you're going to be tired. You're gonna be tired.
Right.
And
Right.
unfortunately, the stars aligned on a desperate team and a fatigued defense. And not only did that align, but that's probably not trying to be biased. This is not a Josh Dobbs elite take. Grow up. We were kidding. That was a bit. This is not a bit. Their wide receiver room, you try matching up against those fucking profile of wide receivers. DK Metcalf's a 6'4" brick shithouse that runs a 4.3. Like let's be honest. Like, what, name another wide receiver that is even remotely close to him right now? You can't. AJ Brown, maybe, but like no, AJ Brown is not DK Metcalf. They work out together and they are both brick shit houses, but they're not the same receiver. Tyler Lockett, who's like him. Jackson Smith and Njigba is one of the best route runners and probably will be one of the best route runners in the league. Clearly showcased it tonight.
That was our guy, Spanky.
Yeah, you hear Olave, you hear Garrett Wilson. They're all like, "Oh, he's next up. He's like, he was better than us in college." And I mean, like, not to toot our own, me and Burke's own horn, but we loved him coming out of college, and we knew he was going to be a stud. He's not the most physically appealing guy in the world because he's undersized and not the fastest, but that doesn't matter when he's playing with DK Metcalf. So we just played them at the stars aligned on the timing, the fatigue, and overall just shit happens in the NFL. Just overall shit happens, and our defense, when it mattered the most in the game, stepped up. So shout out D-Law, shout out Jordan Lewis on that last one of those final 2 drives. Great defense, and you know what? Just being able to be mentally tough to be able to rebound after that horrible first half where he was trending by the end of the first quarter. Deron Bland to step up and get that interception. And, you know, he didn't have the best game of his career, obviously. We'll be the first one to say Depoy's probably off with Deron Bland. But
you never know. You never know.
You never, like,
we're not gonna rule it out.
You can't say that like 100% certain. But
some are saying Damone Clark is going to make a late push. Again,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. Some are.
Yeah, but if you remember a Thanksgiving game against the Oakland Raiders at the time, where one cornerback couldn't get out of his own head and ended up costing us the game in overtime. So that's the difference between this current team and this current set of players and old players. Anthony Brown, if you didn't get that trivia question, thank God you didn't have to suffer through it as much as we have. But Anthony Brown in those types of games gets torched and just falters. And shout out Dan Quinn, because I don't think we really heard much of DK Metcalf once Stephon Gilmore started covering him, which is surprising, gives me I'm back in on Stephon Gilmore's athleticism. I'm just going to say that now. Back in.
Yep.
We actually
defying father time.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not worried. Am I worried? No. Am I chalking this up as fatigue? Yes. Let's have a nice little casual walk through Thursday, and these players should be enough fired up, seeing that this game could hold all the cards for first place in the NFC. So,
yeah, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. The offense had a great game plan right off the gates. Getting the ball out quick. Getting the ball out quick in 2.7 seconds, and Micah Parsons is still already there in Gino's face is insane. But they had a great game plan against Micah, and then against our DBs. Run slants all day long, especially that first play, a slant up the middle. I think it was Dan Orlovsky was tweeting about plays, and he was saying Friday morning after the game, was talking about Deron Bland's going to have to get ready for those slants now, because he got ate up into that game on those slants, and because you all know how he is against those out routes. I mean, that's where he makes his living and got those 6 or 5 pick sixes. So those slants for me big. They had a great game plan. That they're a good football team. I mean, Kenneth Walker's obviously hurt. That's big. I like him. Zach Charbonnet, a rookie from UCLA, stud. I mean, I like him a lot. He's gonna be a good running back in the future. And then you got, like you said, Specky, DK, Smith and Jigba, Lockett. Um, Fant's not a bad tight end.
Yeah, just a
That
very appealing room right there. Their
definitely.
passing game has the
Um,
people.
Yeah, I mean, they
Yep.
need a franchise QB and they need a good O line, because they're going to be good for a long time with that receiving room and those running backs back there. So I like the Seahawks. They had a great game plan. But the Cowboys, I mean, like we've been saying since we started, they stepped up when they needed to. Those last 3 drives were awesome. That pick by Bland was, I mean, you just know it seems like he's going to get one every single game now.
I
But like
know.
you said, Spicky, he stepped up when he had a terrible first 2 quarters. I mean, that was horrendous. They were already putting out memes about that. I forgot what corner that was from the Chiefs.
Go up
Um,
games.
yeah, and it was just 8 catches for 200 something yards against, and I was like, oh no. But he stepped up. He got a pick. I mean, he could like. I was a great analysis about Anthony Brown. Just gets in his head. And Bland just seems like nothing gets in his head. He's a dog. DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, just he's always there. He's always making plays. And then another guy, Osa. I love that guy, man.
Yeah.
I love Osa. I talked about him
Stud.
Thursday night. He's gonna be so good. He is so good right now. I was saying that he's arguably our 3rd best defensive player. Y'all didn't like that very much over DeMarcus, but right now he's playing like it. But we made stops when we had to. Dan Quinn made a great second half adjustments, and came out on top. That's all that matters. And then shout out, shout out Brandon Aubrey. If he does not miss a field goal the rest of the year, I'm buying a Brandon Aubrey jersey.
Okay. Okay. That's on the record.
Mhm.
Field goal or like any kick or just a field goal?
No, field goals, extra points he can miss. I
Okay.
don't care. He's what
Oh,
missed 3
okay.
this year. Extra, it has to be
Yeah.
a field goal.
Okay. Okay. Well, there you have it. If Stu, or sorry, Brendan Aubrey, Stu's challenging you. This is the 3rd challenge that we've put down this season. Stu is challenging Brandon Aubrey to remain perfect this season, and he will be probably one of the first people on earth to wear that number 17 Aubrey jersey.
I've already searched it.
So
It's right here, Dallas Cowboys bookstore. That's what I'm talking about.
he's already looking at it. Okay. Well, I'm glad that we have that out there. Just one question before we get to our great, good, and mediocre, and this is a question for Clayton. But when you say you love Osa Odigizua, who do you love more, Osa Odigizua
It's
or Matthew Stafford?
Okay, that was coming. It's a dumb question. Move on. Next answer.
Obviously, Stafford.
Osa.
Stafford.
Osa.
Okay.
It's
Stafford.
Osa.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah,
Osa.
you're right. That was a dumb question. Stafford. Got it. Okay. By the way, listeners, if you're out there looking for a Christmas present to send to Stu, DM me and I'll give you his address. But he would love to see a Matthew Stafford jersey under his Christmas tree this year. Just
That'd be pretty
putting
cool.
that out there.
He would
See?
poop his pants for an autograph. Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, he
football
would.
too.
Cool.
He would. He would do it on the pod. He would do it on the
Yeah,
pod.
we'll make him do it on the
Just want to get
pod.
out there. Yeah, we just want to get that out there as well.
Let's get that into the world.
So
Let's get that into the
yeah,
internet.
yeah. Get that narrative going. Yeah. Twitter, do your thing. Okay. Okay, so like we always do after wins, let's do our great, our good, and our mediocre. So who wants to lead us off?
I'll lead us off. I'm gonna take him because I don't think I normally skip over it because I let the dogs eat behind me. But number 4 is the definite great. I don't even need to explain that shit. Look at the stats. Look at Vegas's odds. Yeah, people are starting to turn heads on that. My good will be. You know what? My good will be Stephon Gilmore. He really stepped up and stopped the bleeding. He was the tourniquet that we put on the wound, that I will call DK Metcalf. He really helped us stop those big plays, those explosive plays, and overall just DK almost took over that entire game and beat us single-handedly. So thank God we had Stephon Gilmore and not Anthony Brown to have to shift over there. And then lastly, by bad, I'm going to call it just defensive. It's defense.
Fatigue.
Defense is, or the mediocre. Defense is obviously the highlight here, but I'm going to say our defensive fatigue was pretty alarming. Obviously, that's 3 games in 11 days, and we have a little mini bye before Philly, but it's still you don't wake up eager on Thursday morning to be like, I can't wait to see how fatigued our defense is. When that happens, you get alarmed. So that's going to be my mediocre / bad, however you want to label it, would be the fatigue our defense had.
My great. I mean, I think there's only. I'm gonna go Ceedee. The Dak Ceedee connection right now is the best. They're the best. I would say them and the Dolphins have the best 1-2 punch right there with quarterback to wide receiver with Tyreek and Tua. Right now, Ceedee's playing on another planet. He can run every single route that you ask him to run. I believe it was Wes Welker or somebody talking about why Tyreek Hill is just as good right now as Randy Moss, and it was talking about all-around game. It's because Tyreek can run every single route on the route tree. So can Ceedee, and obviously Tyreek is Tyreek. Ceedee's making his case to be the second best receiver in football right now. I think he is the second best receiver in football right now. So Ceedee right now is just playing another planet. My good, the left side of our O line is playing good. I want to say great. I just can't put 2 greats. They look unstoppable right now. I mean, we all know how they are. I mean, just got to get Tyron healthy every single game.
Right.
I want to put him as great, but there's nothing like good. Just makes me seem like it's like average, a little above average. They're playing great right now, but I'm going to put them as good. Mediocre, I'm going to put our DBs. Spanky made a good point about Gilly, our DB room. Gilly I thought played great the second half. That Dan Quinn made great adjustments, but Deron Bland obviously played bad. That cancels each other out. And then Donovan Wilson, man, something's wrong with him. It's getting alarming to the point where it's like I don't want to play him because he just looks like he misses tackles. He's not headhunting anymore. He's not going down and crushing people. It's like he can't read an offense what they're running anymore. He's slow, and I kept wanting to say this because he missed the training almost all of training camp, and you could say that for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Now you can't.
Yeah, especially with the young guys we have under him that aren't getting snaps because of him. I'll be the first one to say Izzy McQuamu and John Way Thomas. It's time to start maybe giving them a couple more snaps over number 6 and number 1. I think we're at the point where I'd like to see them get a couple more reps than Curse, who I think is playing with 64 speed right now. I think it would be his Madden rating, and Donovan Wilson looks like he has about 42 awareness. So those would be my Madden stats for those 2 boys right there.
Yeah.
Also, did y'all see
it's-
Thomas's tweets today?
Oh.
Yeah, he's Twitter figures, bro.
Yeah,
he's a
he was
good
going
follow on
One
Twitter.
is
the
one
made me
about
laugh.
the one that you sent to the group about when he tweeted about Shaquille. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
That
And then
tweet
he's
was
always
so
like,
funny.
Bro, he's always like, my mom's telling me to get off Twitter, so I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
Okay.
He's just funny as fuck, man. For UDFA,
That's
just
gonna
think,
have to be a guy that we try to get on.
Yeah, if he starts, man, what? Him and Marquise Bell are 2 starting UDFA rookies on a playoff team? When has that ever happened?
Well, I guess isn't Bell second year technically?
Oh yeah, I guess. An
But,
MLB
yeah.
rookie.
We know, yeah, exactly. Ben Simmons rookie year, basically. Okay, so I really liked y'all's picks. Showing some love to the other guys, the left side of the O line and and Gilly. I really like those. But my great has to be the other guy on the offense who played great on Thursday, and that's number 87, Jake Ferguson. I mean, the guy was awesome. He has to be balling out because his girl Haley Cavender is in the DFW area now. So I mean, solves everything. Of course. So uh, so shout out to JSEP Ferg. I mean, he's also Jamal Adams' father, which is awesome. Even though Jamal Adams is a scumbag and JSEP Ferg's an awesome guy. Please come on the pod. But yeah, shout out
Please.
JSEP Ferg. He's gonna be my great. I think this was kind of finally the true breakout game. I mean, we saw him play great in Philadelphia, but especially with this game being on, a standalone game in prime time, I think this was the true Jake Ferguson breakout, and I think I think everyone is going to become aware of who number 87 is after Sunday night as well. I just want to get out in front of that early. My good is going to be the continued emergence and utilization of wide receivers not named CeeDee Lamb. Basically, I'm trying to show love to Brandon Cooks. He's every single week he looks more and more comfortable within this offense. Dak looks more and more comfortable going to him. And it's like we said when he had his first solid game against the Chargers. It's like, oh, who knew that a guy that was a 1,000-yard receiver for like 4 other teams could be a really useful weapon? The guy just, like I said, continues to look better each and every week. I'm really proud of how much more of a role he started to take on within this offense in terms of being relied upon as a go-to guy in certain situations. So shout out to Brendan Cooks. Also worth noting, this was the first time I think in 5 games that Michael Gallup actually outsnapped Jalen Tolbert. But it was narrow. I think it was like by like 6 snaps, and Gallup only had 1 target and looked like his feet were in cement, and Dak almost got picked off. Yeah, I mean, back out on Gallup, that touchdown that he had against who was it, the Giants, was awesome when he hit like 21 miles an hour. But the guy, I mean, that was a straight go route. We should have known, fell for the trap. Gallup is unplayable right now. It's plain and simple. Legitimately speaking, as of right now, if he didn't have that contract attached to him, I would make an argument that he should be inactive on game days. Like literally, out of your top, you have Ceedee, you have Cooks, you have Tolbert, you have. I would rather see Turpin and Jalen Brooks get snaps over Gallup as of right now. What are y'all freaking out about? What am I?
I think no, I think Christian Kirk just pulled or tore his groin.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, well, sorry to Christian Kirk. This is really tough timing while we're talking about all good things here. But yeah, I'll just finish my good out with that. I think there's an argument to be made that if Gallup didn't have his contract, he would be a healthy scratch on game days. He offers no value to this team right now, and I'm sorry. He's a great dude. It's just it's 100% time to move on during this offseason. For my mediocre, it's going to be a little bit of a critique on Dan Quinn, just because what I was kind of frustrated about on Thursday, and obviously a lot of it had to do with, Deron Bland did not play a great game, especially in that first half. I mean, we've already talked about it, but my mediocre is going to be the lack of overall defensive adjustments by Dan Quinn pretty much through the first like 3 quarters of that game. I mean, you see that you have a corner who's struggling. There wasn't really a lot of safety help. There wasn't really just a lot of help on Bland's side, even though they kept going at him. And at halftime, kind of like Spanky said, Bland was trending on Twitter for all the wrong reasons, but I wasn't really seeing a lot of criticism of Dan Quinn, which I mean, we love Dan Quinn, we love backwards hat DQ. Guys, still a stud, still a savage, but would have liked to have seen just some better defensive adjustments because if we're playing, I mean, with that playoff like atmosphere, if we're unable to make adjustments on the fly against a team like Philadelphia next week or a team potentially down the line like San Francisco, or maybe even a team that has a high flying offense like the Lions, we're gonna be fucked. So I'll just say that for my mediocre. But you guys have anything else that we want to add before we jump in and cover zero,
Mm-mm.
or you just want to get right into it? Okay. All right. Well, let's fire off our. I don't know what that face was, Spanky. I don't know what that was. It's gonna act like I didn't see that. Okay. Stop, bro. Stop.
Try to do a Shane Gillis face.
It's
Okay. Okay. We're not making Shane Gillis faces, but bad podcasting. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's hip flexor Clayton.
Okay.
Jeez, they catch a break this week.
It's a slow walk to the locker room. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver 1 now. Cover zero take. You know what? It might not be like a take, but it's something like it's a hot take that I want to see. I want to see more Yanway, Thomas, and maybe Israel McQuamu play more. These are two, especially Israel. He is a 6'4", I want to say 215, 220. He's a prototypical just positionless build, and especially for Janway. It's my new Beatish. Yeah, it's my new Beatish person.
Beatish.
Yeah, B-dish. They just bring juice and energy, and it's like, I know it's harsh because Curse is such a vocal leader, but I mean, we need to win games. We need to look better. But my cover zero take will be play young guys in the safety room. But my other cover zero take, this is a tough one, but fuck, we kind of ran through our cover zero takes so far. I don't really have Luke Shoemaker, or no, I'm not going with that team.
All right.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. If you hear Luke Shoon come out of my mouth, cut me off. Cut me off.
Get this guy a
Max
water.
needs to turn the mic off for me.
That was
I
hilarious.
think in the next 5 games, my cover zero take is next 5 games, we're gonna see a lot more of Kavonte Turpin. Used in one catch last week. He wasn't utilized a lot. He looks good, obviously, but if Pollard keeps looking the way he's been looking, what happened?
Nothing. Keep going.
Spanky made a Gillis face. I'm sorry.
The worst. Kavonte Turpin is going to be used more in the offensive scheme in the next 5 weeks.
Love it. Oh, sorry, dude. Spanky, you gotta stop, dude. You gotta stop. Okay. Okay. Whew. All right, get it together. Get it together. Okay. So far we've got play the young. Okay, no more. No more. Oh, I'm sorry for people that are listening on Spotify or Apple Music. You probably have no idea what's happening right now. But if you're on YouTube, you can see the faces Spanky's making it. Yeah,
We're having a silly time over here.
It's
I'm in a
just
silly mood.
yeah, it's just doing something to my sense of humor right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and block Spanky on my screen here, so I'm not distracted. Okay, Wanye or play the young guys in the safety room. More usage from Turpin. I love both of those. For my cover zero, dude. I mean, oh man. I mean, I really thought
Luke Schoonmaker came out of my mouth when I
Yeah,
cover 0.
that was what I almost said because I was like, dude, what if I just rip off like a Schoonmaker right now? But then I was like, what am I gonna say? Like, oh, Luke Schoonmaker, like 3 pancakes in the next 2 games or something? Like, dude,
So
no.
Luke Schoonmaker will make the Pro Bowl.
Peyton Hendershot is gonna make a push for oh boy. Cover 0 take. No, okay. My cover 0 take. I really like the one about Turpin actually, Stu. But what I'm gonna say for my cover 0 take is Jordan Lewis. People have been really harsh on him all year. He's been, coming off that injury that he suffered last year. But I think his one shining moment per se is coming up soon. And I have a feeling, and this is probably going to spoil a little bit of probably my hot boy pick on Thursday, but I think Jordan Lewis's one shining moment for the Cowboys this year is coming up soon.
I like
That
that.
was just
Ooh.
super random.
You little sneaky little snake.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm just grasping at straws here. But yeah, y'all have anything else that we want to fire off before we wrap up?
I'm hungry.
Dak, number 4, please stunt on these hoes, man. Please stunt on these hoes the Sunday, please. That's all I got.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and do our outro here. Thank you guys so much as always for listening to us today. And as always, please listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please follow us and interact with us. Our Twitter and TikTok at DallasBC Pod, our Instagram at DallasBC Podcast, and our email for any sponsorships or inquiries, podcastdbc@gmail.com. The boys are still looking for that first sponsor, so whoever wants to step up and burden the cross of dealing with our stupid asses, feel free to step up to the plate, shoot us an email. But until Thursday, that's pretty much all we got. Thank you guys so much for joining us as we recapped last Thursday's game against the Seattle Seahawks and that nail biter. And we'll see you guys on Thursday to break down the game of the year.
Boom!